In the digital world, a company's main website is like its corporate headquarters, the central hub of its online presence. It's where customers, partners, and potential employees go to learn about the organization, its products, and its values. Just like a physical headquarters, it represents the company's brand and reputation. Secure, polished, and well-maintained. A company invests heavily in making its primary website secure and user-friendly, ensuring that it reflects the professionalism and trustworthiness of the organization. Think of it as the digital storefront, always open for business. But companies also create subdomains, often without the same level of scrutiny or security. These subdomains are extensions of the main website residing under the primary domain name, like blog or shop.example.com. These subdomains serve specific purposes, directing users to different sections or functionalities within the company's online ecosystem, for different projects or departments. Marketing teams might create a subdomain for a new product launch, while the engineering department might use one for internal documentation. Each subdomain is essentially a mini website with its own content and purpose. These subdomains are often temporary, spun up for events or campaigns, quickly deployed to meet immediate needs. They provide flexibility and agility, allowing companies to adapt to changing market conditions and launch new initiatives rapidly, and then forgotten once their purpose ends. The marketing campaign concludes, the event wraps up, and the subdomain is left to languish, often without proper decommissioning or security updates. The problem? These abandoned subdomains can become security liabilities, representing a significant risk to the entire organization. They are like unlocked doors in a seemingly secure building, inviting intruders to exploit vulnerabilities, unmonitored, unpatched, and invisible to busy IT teams. Overwhelmed with daily tasks and critical projects, IT staff often overlook these forgotten corners of the digital landscape, leaving them vulnerable to attack. This is the story of how a forgotten subdomain, a digital ghost town, became a gateway for malicious actors, showing only a 404 error, a seemingly harmless sign that the page no longer exists, masked a deeper vulnerability, became the open back door to an entire corporate server. A simple oversight transformed into a major security breach. A security researcher, through careful investigation, a digital detective piecing together clues, uncovered the hidden danger, turned that harmless error page, that seemingly insignificant 404 message, into full root access, the keys to the kingdom, complete control over the server's operating system, total control over the server. The researcher could now access sensitive data, modify system configurations, and even shut down the entire server. This wasn't a sophisticated, undetectable hack. It wasn't some zero-day exploit or advanced persistent threat. It was a chain reaction caused by basic neglect. A series of small oversights, compounded over time, led to a catastrophic security failure. Attackers don't always need to break down the front door. They don't need to overcome sophisticated security measures. Sometimes a forgotten window is left wide open. A simple misconfiguration, an outdated software version, or an unmonitored subdomain can provide an easy entry point for malicious actors. The lesson: every digital asset, no matter how small, must be tracked and secured. From the main website to the smallest subdomain, every online resource requires diligent monitoring and maintenance, or risk becoming the weakest link. A single vulnerability can compromise the entire security posture of an organization. In cybersecurity, vigilance is key. What you don't see can hurt you the most. The hidden vulnerabilities, the forgotten assets, and the unmonitored subdomains are the silent threats that can bring down an entire organization. In the world of cybersecurity, ethical hackers and security researchers play a crucial role in safeguarding digital assets. Their work often begins with reconnaissance, a meticulous process of gathering information. This involves mapping every digital asset a company owns, from its main website to its various online services and infrastructure components. It's about understanding the full scope of the target's digital footprint. Think of it as creating a detailed inventory of everything that's connected to the internet and belongs to the organization. Subdomain enumeration is key to this process. It's the art and science of discovering all the subdomains associated with a primary domain. Researchers achieve this using a variety of tools, including popular options like Amass or Sublist3R, which automate the discovery process. These tools are designed to efficiently scan and identify subdomains that might otherwise go unnoticed. Through subdomain enumeration, they uncover all subdomains, even those long forgotten or unintentionally left exposed. These forgotten subdomains can often become easy targets for malicious actors. These tools pull data from a multitude of sources, including search engines, which often index a vast amount of information about websites and their associated subdomains. They also gather information from DNS records, the Internet's phone book, and public archives, which store historical data about websites and domains. This comprehensive approach is crucial for revealing hidden corners of a company's online presence, areas that might be vulnerable to attack. In our story, the researchers' scan, powered by these techniques, found the usual suspects, the common subdomains you'd expect to see, such as www, the main website, mail, the email server, and API, the application programming interface. But the scan also revealed an odd one, something that stood out from the rest. It was devtest04.example.com. The name itself hinted strongly at a development or test environment, a place where code is experimented with, and new features are tested before being released to the public. These environments are often less secure than production systems, making them attractive targets for attackers. Intrigued, the researcher decided to visit the subdomain. Upon accessing it, the researcher saw only a 404 not found error, a standard HTTP response code indicating that the server couldn't find the requested resource. For most casual observers, that's where the investigation would end, a seemingly dead end. But for a seasoned researcher, a 404 error is often more than just an error. It's a clue, a breadcrumb on the path to discovery. It indicates that the server is alive and responding to requests, even if it can't fulfill the specific request made. So what's the next step in this digital investigation? The researcher needs to analyze the error page itself for any subtle hints about the underlying system, the server configuration, or the applications running on it. Is it a custom error page, specifically designed for this website? Or is it a generic default error page provided by the web server software? Even seemingly small details like the wording of the error message or the presence of a logo can reveal critical information about the technology stack in use. Because sometimes, the error page tells a story all its own, a story that can lead to uncovering vulnerabilities and potential security breaches. The 404 page on devtest04.example.com was generic, a stark contrast to what one might expect from a modern website. It was the kind of error page that screamed default settings, rather than thoughtful design. Plain text, no branding whatsoever, no company logo, no friendly message, just the bare minimum HTML to display the error code. It lacked any visual appeal or user-friendly guidance. Unlike the main site's polished error page, which undoubtedly had a custom design and incorporated the company's branding, this one felt like a relic from the early days of the internet. This one was the default straight from the web server software. It was as if someone had installed the server and never bothered to customize even the most basic elements. That signaled a separate, likely neglected server, a server that was probably spun up for a specific purpose and then largely forgotten about. Set up quickly and never properly maintained, lacking the security hardening and regular updates that a production server would typically receive. It was a digital ghost town. The real giveaway, the smoking gun if you will, was in the footer: Apache 2 4.49 Unix server at devtest04.example.com port 80. A seemingly innocuous line of text but packed with valuable information. This server banner revealed the exact software and version running on the server. Details that are often deliberately hidden for security reasons. Gold for an attacker, providing a precise roadmap to potential vulnerabilities. It's like handing them the keys to the kingdom. With this info, the researcher could search for known vulnerabilities. They could pinpoint the exact weaknesses associated with that specific version of Apache. Specific to Apache February 4th 49, making the search incredibly efficient and targeted. No guesswork required. Security best practices say to hide this information to avoid making it easy for attackers to identify potential targets. But here it was, freely available, a clear indication of a lack of security awareness or simply negligence. A quick check of public vulnerability databases would show if this version was exploitable, revealing any known security flaws that could be leveraged. All from a forgotten subdomain's default error page. A seemingly insignificant detail that could have significant consequences. Sometimes the smallest details, the most overlooked corners of a system, open the biggest doors to potential security breaches. It's a reminder that security is only as strong as its weakest link. Outdated software is a hacker's best friend. When vulnerabilities are discovered, patches are released, but only if someone applies them. The server banner showed Apache February 4, 49, which had a critical flaw, CVE 2020-141,773. This allowed attackers to read files outside the web directory and even run malicious commands. The company likely thought the obscure subdomain was safe through obscurity, but automated tools find everything. This forgotten unpatched server was a ticking time bomb, unmanaged, unmonitored, and invisible to regular security scans. A robust asset and patch management process would have caught it. Instead, a single oversight left the door wide open. With the vulnerability identified, the researcher moved to exploitation. Publicly available scripts made it easy, no elite skills required. The exploit used path traversal to access sensitive files like /etc/passwd, confirming the server was vulnerable. But it didn't stop there. The flaw also allowed remote code execution, letting the attacker run commands on the server. The researcher set up a reverse shell, giving them direct interactive access to the server. Suddenly, a simple 404 error had become a command prompt inside the company's network. The initial breach was complete. All it took was a forgotten subdomain and an unpatched server. The next step, see how far this access could go. Privilege escalation was now the goal. Initial access is just the beginning. Most web servers run as low-privileged users. To take full control, attackers look for ways to become root, the all-powerful system user. The researcher searched for misconfigurations and found a critical mistake. The www data user could run the find command as root. No password needed. This was likely a leftover from a rushed development session. Using a well-known trick, the researcher abused the find command to spawn a root shell. In an instant, they had full administrative control. A single misconfigured line in a forgotten server's settings made it possible. Privilege escalation was complete. Root access is total control, like having the master key to every room in a building. The attacker could read, modify, or delete any file, including sensitive data and credentials. They could install backdoors, keyloggers, or ransomware and use the server as a launchpad to attack other systems. With root, they could erase logs, hide their tracks, and create new user accounts. The compromised server was now a liability, not an asset. The only safe recovery? Wipe and rebuild if the breach is even detected. Root access means the organization has lost all trust in that machine. The consequences can be catastrophic. This attack was preventable at every step. First, maintain a complete, up-to-date inventory of all digital assets, every domain, subdomain, and server. Second, automate patch management. Outdated software should never be exposed to the internet. Third, hide server banners and version info to make reconnaissance harder for attackers. Fourth, enforce least privilege everywhere. No unnecessary permissions ever. Regularly audit access controls and configuration files like sudoers. Finally, decommission unused assets, properly shut down servers, remove DNS records, and revoke certificates. A formal checklist ensures nothing is left behind. These simple steps dramatically reduce the risk of forgotten assets becoming attack vectors. Cybersecurity is about relentless, proactive hygiene. The biggest threats often come from the places we're not watching. Forgotten subdomains and old servers are open invitations for attackers. This breach wasn't a masterclass in hacking, it was a chain of basic failures: asset management, patching, and configuration. Each oversight tipped the next domino, leading to total compromise. Security isn't just about protecting the front door, every window and back entrance matters. Attackers will always find the path of least resistance. Maintaining a complete inventory of all assets is non-negotiable. Every subdomain, no matter how obscure, is part of your attack surface. In cybersecurity, ignorance isn't bliss, it's a liability.